Hey, what's going on today, guys? Steve from the SaltyFresh Perspective podcast, checking in here with another episode. My guest today has quite the resume in the fitness industry. He's the owner of No Limits Fitness, a functional fitness gym. He's also the owner of the Fit Life Meals, a meal prep company. And he also is a high-level Masters CrossFit athlete. Please give it up for a great conversation with Rick Copley. All right, I'll do a quick intro. Nothing too serious here, but sitting here, episode of the podcast today with Rick Copley. How you doing, man?
I am super excited to share and to talk and chat and see what's going on.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you doing this. You seem like a busy guy. We're sitting here in your kitchen where you do meal prep, you were saying. You're also a gym owner, right?
Yes, sir.
CrossFit gym, right? Is it a CrossFit affiliate? Or
It's not a CrossFit affiliate, but we do very similar type of stuff that CrossFit does, but we're not an actual affiliate.
Okay, got it. And you compete in the CrossFit games,
I
don't
compete
you?
in CrossFit. That's kind of the confusing thing. I compete in the sport of CrossFit, but I don't really do CrossFit. It's kind of one of those weird things. We can get into that for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then how long have you been doing the meal prep business?
We started the meal prep, the Fit Life Meals, just about almost 3 years now. We've been doing that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then what's the other thing I saw that you do? Oh, you're writing a fitness journal as well, right? You're a fitness writer of some sort?
I have been writing fitness type of blogs and Facebook and posts, and I've been doing all that kind of stuff for, a long time, close to 20 years now. I've been writing fitness stuff for a long time, yeah.
Well, you're a busy guy, so I
Busy for
appreciate
sure.
you taking the time. So we'll start from the beginning, 20 years into the fitness journey there, but how long you been doing CrossFit?
I've been competing in the sport of CrossFit since 2014.
Okay.
I have a pedigree as an endurance athlete. I always competed. From the time I was just a little kid playing soccer, baseball, always competed. I ran track, cross country in high school. Had some pretty good success there. Competed Division I college. Did triathlons for years and years. Competed at a pretty high level. And just there's nothing competition, being a competitor, and to me, is the probably most important thing in my life. And it's always has been. And so, a few years back, my wife and I, my wife, we've been together for almost exactly 10 years now.
Congrats.
But she liked to kind of compete too, and I was doing endurance stuff, and she was doing kind of fitness stuff, and it didn't make sense. So hey, let's do the same thing. Let's do it together. So I said, hey, I'm going to transfer everything from being an endurance athlete to being a CrossFit athlete. And so I've been fighting that journey for 7 years now, and it's been great. I love it. It's just one of the many things I do, and I really enjoy it. I think too, from a fitness standpoint, one of the best things you can do for yourself is to have some sort of lifestyle habit that you do that helps your body to be more fit and to live better and to look better, feel better, perform better, all those things. And to me, it's competing in the sport of CrossFit. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Where did that competitive nature come from? I share that with you, and I find myself curious about people. Like, where'd that start for you? Was it a young age?
It's genetic. It's
I
not
really
even.
think that.
It's not even taught. It's funny because I talk about this to people, but my parents, neither one of them ever exercised in their lives. I've got siblings. I've had sub-siblings who've done stuff. I had a sister as a bodybuilder for a while. I got a brother who played some softball and stuff and baseball. But, that never, the competitive thing, I've never seen it in my family. So it's just in me. And I remember, and this is so stupid, but it's a real thing. I remember being a little kid, like I'm 10, right? Riding my bike around and pretending I was competing against myself in life. Like I was like riding my bike next to me and I try to beat myself. It's crazy, right? And so even as I get older in high school, I'd ride bikes with my friends, whatever. I'd try to beat them beat them home. But it was always in my nature, and it's one of those things. And you have to learn how to utilize that to your benefit. Sure. And it's not always been a benefit to me. Being ultra competitive sometimes has its downfalls, right? But that's something I've learned to kind of channel over time. Yeah. And, I drove hard. I worked hard. I've always tried to be the best I could be. Has it succeeded all the time? No. But I've learned how to enjoy the journey. Sure. And I've learned how to kind of transition a lot of that into other areas of my life, too, in terms of growing businesses and relationships and all that other stuff.
Yeah, sometimes that uber competitive approach doesn't work well in that relationship category that you just mentioned, right? But that's interesting. You said when you were 10, competing against yourself when you were riding your bicycle. Isn't that sort of what CrossFit is about a little bit? Because you are competing against others, but ultimately, aren't you trying to improve a lot about what it is that you're going up against yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Especially as an aging athlete. I'm a master's athlete, so I'm 48.
Okay.
So the biggest challenge we have as master's athletes is literally just trying to keep our body moving. Because, after the age of, depending on what you're doing, after the age of 30, 35, 40, it's not, you can no longer improve your body. You can no longer get better because you're just fighting age. Your body's breaking down, and there's just nothing you can do about it. I can't be at 48 what I was at 38 and 28. You just can't do it. And so that category of what you're doing, that's part of the basis of everything you're thinking about. All the training you're doing, you have to say, okay, can I recover from this, right?
Yeah.
Can I survive another day? I had a pretty traumatic injury last year, and it was kind of several pretty traumatic injuries, so it was kind of a rough year. But a lot of that was just ultra competitiveness, just trying to be like, okay, I'm going to, when you're driving down the street and your car's making a sound, I'm just going to turn that radio up,
Ignore
and
it.
That's what I did. And so, I was doing a workout, and I flew a little close to the sun, so to speak, and I heard something really bad. And so that was a real kind of slap in the face of the 2x4, so that's really has helped me. Now, it's weird to say that because it was really traumatic and there was a lot of pain. It helped me to kind of focus back on learning how to utilize my thoughts a little bit better, right? Utilize smartness, in other words, be smart about my training and about life and all that stuff. And so, a lot of the negatives that have happened over the last few years, the pandemic, for example, was kind of, a bad thing for a lot of businesses, but my business exploded because people now needed what I had. And so I was able to kind of transition, okay, this is a negative in the world into a positive in my business. So now we're helping a lot of people. I've got people, last week, during the course of the calendar week, I had 2 separate people utilize these words to me. They said, "You're a blessing." And so, again, yes, I'm competitive. Yes, I love to compete and do all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's more about being a blessing to other people, right? And so that has all these different things have helped me to have that opportunity to do that. So pretty excited about life, pretty excited about competing, which is something that, has been a little tabled lately because of, the pandemic. So there's not anything going on. And for me, missing basically a year of training, it's kind of that kind of stinks, but whatever, it is what it is. Now I've had the opportunity to grow new businesses. We're here in one now, and work hard at that, and really focusing on helping other people, and my gym, the same thing. So it's been a journey.
So it was hard to come back after. I was wondering this about people, obviously in the fitness space, a lot of gyms, restaurants, those kind of things, they had some struggles there, obviously, for the last year. So interesting to hear that you're thriving in that environment versus so many people didn't.
Well, a lot of that's a mindset thing. And so, like, for us, our gym got closed down, right? So, here it was, and the gym was never, and, not to get into the weeds in terms of financials on boutique gyms, which is what my gym is. No Limits Fitness in Tavares it's a boutique gym. So it's a higher cost membership, lower numbers. Most of our members attend the gym twice a week, so 90% of members come every week versus, Planet Fitness. And the other chain gyms, nothing wrong with them, but they don't have that type, they don't come all the time.
They're the opposite. They're looking for more people paying that lower monthly.
But, when you have a gym like that, it's oftentimes hard to make money at a gym like that. And so we're not in it for the money. I have a business partner, and we're not there to make money. We're there because we love the environment, we love the gym, we want to provide an opportunity to people. So when you're talking about something like that, that's really on the cusp of, okay, take a check this week or this month or not, and then all of a sudden the government says, hey, you can't operate anymore. And so it's like, well, what do you do? And so we weren't eligible for any kind of funding and money because, we tried to apply for the PPP loans, and they wouldn't do it because we didn't have employees. So we were kind of in that weird in the middle thing, So there wasn't a lot of help there. And we were blessed in the sense that all our members just kept paying. So I think we lost a couple members, and mostly people just stayed on. I decided that, for a couple weeks, honestly, like I sat around, like we did puzzles. I don't know. Like, okay, I can't go to work.
Take a break.
Yeah, take a break. I was actually injured at the time. I stopped training. But after a couple weeks, I really, and I did a Facebook post about this, and I said, I can either sit around and feel sorry for myself, the fact that the government shut down my gym and that there's a pandemic, right, which is obviously a bad thing, and people are getting sick and all that stuff, or I can take this and utilize it as a way to grow a business where I'm going to help people. And that's really always the focus. It's focus on the customers and the businesses and really changing lives. And so we're like, well, we're going to do that. And so I got to work. I went to the gym. I rented a lift, cleaned all the rafters. I replaced the tape on the floor. Like I cleaned every single inch of the gym. I went, I focused and fought and got the gym as nice as I could. We looked at our billing systems. We changed all our stuff like that. We did all the stuff that we could possibly do at the gym when there's nobody there. It's like, hey, this is an opportunity, right? So we took this opportunity. And, after 56 days, we implemented, before we opened back up or allowed to open back up, we implemented our procedures and policies and stuff like that. And so once we opened back up, we were all ready to rock and roll and get people back in. We were closed for 56 days.
Wow.
And, it's been a challenge since then. The gym's still in business. But it hasn't been we haven't had a big, huge growth of membership because what else has happened during the pandemic? These other companies, Peloton, and people are doing stuff online. And so a lot of the gyms like CrossFit gyms and gyms like ours, the smaller boutique gyms, struggle fest. It's really been
I think though people, not everybody, but some lack the motivation to watch a video or watch a Peloton video. They might need that environment, right? And that's one thing I want to talk to you about, because I've never done CrossFit. I've always watched it from afar, and I'm like, man, it looks really cool. There's some things that worry me about it, and we can get into some of that. But what I really liked is, and some people call it cult-like, but it's more that community approach, right? Where it seems like people that do CrossFit, they're always pushing themselves, but they're more importantly pushing each other more and more. I think more people need that in some cases than being able to just play a YouTube video and be motivated to do anything.
Absolutely. And so I want to kind of, because the word CrossFit, okay, I want to talk about that, because the word CrossFit is very much a polarizing term, right? So when you say the word CrossFit to a group of people, you might get some people that are like, I love CrossFit. I go to CrossFit. It's the best thing, blah, blah, blah. And they want to talk about it all day. There's jokes about it all over, like memes. Like, what's the first rule of CrossFit? Always talk about CrossFit.
Oh,
right?
like Fight Club.
Yeah, like Fight Club. Right? It's like, oh my gosh. But then you get people like, it's dangerous. It's this, it's that. It's all these things. It's cult-like. Even use the word cult-like.
Yeah.
Here's the reality. CrossFit's a brand name.
Right.
It's a brand name. It's a type of fitness. So if you say YMCA, you don't get a lot of that because, people might think YMCA, might think older people, whatever. The reality of it is anything's an opportunity for anybody to take and utilize, right? CrossFit is a brand name. So CrossFit, if you look at it, it's two things. It's a sport. A lot of the dangerous and, oh my gosh, I can't do a thing, comes from watching the sport. So someone might be scrolling YouTube, right? And they see CrossFit Games, blah, blah, and they see somebody doing a ridiculous thing. That's not CrossFit. That's the sport of CrossFit. So like, let's say you're, a 35-year-old guy who's never worked out in his life, and you walk into a CrossFit gym. There's nothing you're going to do in any time in the near future that's going to look anything like what you see on YouTube from these crazy people.
Right.
Not one thing. You're going to do basic movements. You're going to learn how to air squat, right? You're going to do the basic stuff. You're going to do a ring row. You're going to learn how to pick up an empty barbell. You're going to utilize the movements to increase your fitness and to get in better shape. And what's going to happen, and again, I'm going to talk positive about CrossFit. I don't own a CrossFit affiliate.
Right.
I am not affiliated with CrossFit any way, shape, or form, with the exception of participating in their sport. So I'm going to kind of defend their gyms a little bit, even though it's not, there's a CrossFit, actually they're not an affiliate anymore. There is a CrossFit gym in town, a couple of them actually. We all support each other. We all know each other. We all compete together and stuff like that.
Nice.
But, so you get the negative connotation when the reality is very much different. So when you walk into a CrossFit gym, you're going to have a coach, or a boutique gym like mine, No Limits Fitness, we'll throw it as a cat. You're going to have a coach that's going to say, hey, okay, what's going on with you? What's your history? Let's do this workout here, but let's scale it to your abilities. So one of the things you'll see in CrossFit is there might be a workout, and I don't know why I'm pulling this out of my head, but there's a workout called DT, right? And it's barbell work. So it's a 155-pound barbell, which, if you've never done CrossFit, if you've never done functional type fitness, if you're brand new to even exercising, you might utilize a set of dumbbells that are super light, maybe even a medicine ball or an empty barbell or like a PVC pipe. It's like, hey, we're going to do this workout, but instead of doing it for time, we're going to do 10 minutes of the movements or 5 minutes of the movements. We call that AMRAP, as many reps as possible, whatever.
AMRAP,
And we're going to do, instead of doing just 12 reps of this movement, we're going to scale that down to 6. Instead of doing 9 reps of this, we're going to scale it. So everything is scalable, right? And that's how CrossFit, No Limits Fitness, that's how we operate. Someone walks in the door, have you been exercising? No, I don't do anything. Cool, let's look at the workout. We're going to take each one of these movements. We're going to tune it down to your ability. So that's the great thing about something like No Limits Fitness, is where you walk in the door is you're staring at a person.
Yeah.
You're staring at a person telling you, hey, here's what we're going to do. Are we going to throw a clock on it? Yeah, because what we're going to try to do is what's called relative intensity. So intensity is different for everybody, right? So, I might stand next to someone that's a distance runner, like a professional runner, and we're going to run 400s together. We want to do it at high intensity. Well, my 400 is going to look a lot different than his.
Sure.
Same thing if I'm standing next to someone that's never exercised a day in their life, 100 pounds overweight. Hey, let's run X number of minutes at high intensity. It's going to look different. Right? So everybody's going to be different. So that's the great benefit of a smaller gym like ours is you get to walk in the door and have someone teach you and show you. And it really bothers me in a lot of ways, specifically about the CrossFit thing, is that people have this negative connotation.
Sure.
And then they get it because they're looking at the sport. And from the community sense, why is it a bad thing that you and 10 other people do a workout and afterwards you sit and talk about the workout because that's what you just did together, right? And you become friends because why? You have a common thing you do.
Yeah.
I think we go out sometimes with some of our people at our gym because they're our friends, right? Because that's pretty much our friends go work at the gym.
Nice.
But, and sometimes the spouses might be there and I always kind of like, man, we'll start talking about the workout again. But that's what we do. It's like, that could be worse thing we'd be talking about.
Sure.
Right? I mean, you can talk about what you do for exercise, how to make yourself better and feel better and look better and perform better in life. Yeah. Why is that a bad thing? Right? There's that.
If we learned anything from this pandemic, it's obviously it's still going on. It's not over. I get some heat for that sometimes, but it seems to be that the majority of people that have some of the major issues are the ones that maybe aren't the healthiest, maybe aren't the ones that are taking advantage of some of the mindsets that you're talking about or getting into those communities that they're talking about. So whatever it is, if it's distance running, if it's going to a CrossFit gym or a boutique gym like yours, whatever it is that gets people out and moving and trying to improve, why is there such a negative tone? I'm glad you took that stance on it because you can feel it. But when you watch it on TV or you watch some of those like fittest documentaries, it's the opposite for me. They get me motivated. I'm like, man, like that looks awesome. But the way you described it, more of a progressive load, then you're not walking in there expected to complete the workout of the day or whatever it is right there from the bat.
Right.
So that's
and,
awesome.
and I've been doing this a long time. I owned my first gym in 2002. So it's been 19 years since I've been owning gyms. And I've seen a lot of people over the years, even when I worked in gyms, people that walk in and they're like, this is, I don't know if I can, I have someone walk in our gym one time. I'm so intimidated. I said, and I tried to break it down. I said, what are you intimidated by? Like, turn around. Let's look in the gym. I'm intimidated by the rope. Like, you're not going to climb the rope. Why would you be intimidated by the rope? That's like looking at a truck down the street. It's like, that truck's going to run me over. No, it's not. Yeah. Just don't go in the street, right? Yeah. And so, I remember one time I had two ladies. They showed up at the gym. They did a workout. Next lady, one of them came back. The next day, one of them came back. I said, well, where's your friend? Oh, she said it was too hard. I'm like, too hard? And this is a bigger lady. She's probably 200 pounds overweight. I said, do you think it's easy being 200 pounds overweight? That's kind of hard too. Like, you got to choose your hard, And so in terms of the pandemic too, and, I don't want to harp on it too much or get political or anything like that. But the pandemic started, a year and change ago. Yeah. I've not spent 1 second of my life scared or fearful.
Right.
Not 1 second.
Right.
Not 1 second. Because when I was 10 years old, I was competing against myself, and I've always been competitive in the sense that I want to be healthy and fit, not just compete. Like, I want to look good. I want to feel good. I'm blessed beyond measure that my wife is ridiculously freaking gorgeous and way out of my league, and that part of that I think is probably because I'm pretty fit. I don't know,
man, because you've been working hard at that.
Like, she's super. That's awesome. Like ridiculous. But we're doing a team comp together, right? We're doing a partner thing together. Sometimes we do a little competition together. Nice. And she's like, you can name the team. Like, okay, so I named the team 10-4. She's like, what's 10-4? I'm like, well, you're 10, I'm 4, so we'll just go with that. She's like, shut up.
That's awesome, man. Well, I know that there's some negative because people are fearful of the injury. And then there are injuries in any athletic endeavor that you're going to get into. But I think you hit the nail on the head where the right coach, I'm sure there's some gyms that are maybe the opposite where they come in and just throw people into it. But I like that approach of that progressive load. It seems scary looking at, I was watching some of the stuff you do, man, and being 48 years old. Honestly, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you is because I like people that are a little bit older than me that are just straight getting it, man. And you seem to be one of those guys, and why I wanted to come down here and have this conversation.
I certainly get after it. And, the injury thing is I had a conversation with someone about this the other day. They're like, oh, I was working out and I got hurt. I said, well, yeah. I mean, how do people get injured? Yeah. How do you generally get injured? When you're moving a body, either you do it too much, do it the wrong way. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to get injured. And actually, honestly, a lot of the science, a lot of the times they don't understand why people get injured. Yeah. So when you're doing activity, that's when generally you get injured. So yeah, what if you work out all the time? Well, yeah, then every once in a while you're going to get injured. Yeah. And people get injured doing everything. Sure. Watch baseball. Look at I think I was doing a blog article or something, I researched like the number of people on the injured reserve list in baseball. There's a ton of them because they got hurt.
Yeah.
It happens. So yeah, I totally get that. And do people get hurt exercising the first couple times? Sure. Because you don't kind of understand your own body for one, and it's hard for anybody else to understand it either. Because okay, let's lift 10 pounds. Well, is that too much? Maybe 15 pounds. Who knows? So you have to really be careful and you have to move. But there's always some degree of risk to everything we do in life.
Just going outside, there's a degree of risk. Walking down the street.
We do in life is some degree of risk. And so the question is this: is like if you're 50 years old and you pull your back and you're out for a couple days, that might be a challenge, right? But what if you're 50 years old and fucking 100 pounds overweight and you get diabetes? How about that? Is that a challenge?
Yeah.
Just how is that sore back feeling now, right? And so you have to look at those things. People would rather sit in front of the TV and eat candy and pizza and say, oh, I don't want to get hurt doing that.
Yeah. But you're taking years off your life, maybe.
Years off your life. And then you're 58 years old. I a lot of times When I've written, I've shared the story, but I know someone that was a grandmother to her grandkids live next door. A bunch of them, seven grandkids, 7 or 8 grandkids next door. Loved them. They came over. She babysat, but she was morbidly obese. 58 years old. They came over one day, dead. Dead. 58, morbidly obese. And it's like, the way I look at that, my grandmother died she died in 2012, I believe. She was 91. She lived an extra 40 years.
Yeah.
40 years.
Think of what you can do.
What would you do with 40 years extra of your life? And my grandmother did like Meals on Wheels, and she volunteered at her church. So she spent 40 years doing that.
Wow.
There's 40 years that this person missed, and it's no judgment. And again, I've learned over the years, one of the reasons I don't write as much as I used to is part of the time, like, I've done it all, I've written it all. I focus more on just, hey, let's be a lead by example, as opposed to trying to lecture or trying to share stories, because all that stuff can be done. But I want to focus now. It's like, hey, I've done a lot of that. Now I'm going to focus on what's going on in my inner circle and helping people look right in front of me. I'm going to help my family, my wife and I, fight forward and crush it.
Nice. I talk about this but I used to have a large sales team of 1,000 people, and what I learned about them is you can't change people. People start to change when they realize things for themselves. So that approach of what you're saying is, you can't. No one likes to be lectured to. Most people don't learn in that format. It's once they see things for themselves.
I'm all about empowering people too. I tell people at our gyms, like, oh, here's the schedule. You show up. I mean, sometimes we'll send a text, hey, haven't seen you in a while, but I'm not going to chase people down anymore. I've done that in the past. They're like, oh, I haven't seen you in 2 weeks. And, sometimes people need a little encouragement, and that's cool too. But a lot of times, the way I look at it, it's like, hey, we're going to empower you. Walk in the door. Take a look at the board. Let's do the workout. If you need some help, come over here and say, hey, help me with this weight. Help me to figure this out. Let's do this together. But we can't do it for anybody. And I think a lot of times people are looking for that. That's why I don't. And you kind of could tell, when you mentioned the term CrossFit, I'm kind of like, wait, back. I'm kind of fighting it a little bit because I don't like terms. I don't like different things that people do. I like people doing things, right? So when you look at something like a diet or something like that, so I'm going to do this diet. Like, well, no, that's dumb, because you're now putting the onus of your results on the diet. And now you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. It's now the responsibility of the diet to take care of me. So now when it doesn't take care of you and doesn't fix you, you can blame it on the diet. Oh, so this diet didn't work. I tried this diet for 2 weeks. It didn't work. I weighed myself every day. The scale lied to me. No, it's like, you have to take time. You have to focus on the things that really mean stuff in terms of your fitness for a week, a month, a year, 10 years, 20 years. It's a lifestyle. It's an everyday thing for the rest of your life.
Things that you can stick to and commit to for the long haul. Because people try diets and fail all the time, or they try to get into gyms. You mentioned it earlier, but what's the old joke about, around New Year's when people make these resolutions and then they work out for a week or two and then doesn't become part of their life, and then it just all falls back down?
Always call it right around the end of February, early February. It's called the Resolution Hangover. I've written multiple blogs about that. The Resolution Hangover. So all of a sudden you're sitting there going, oh, this is hard, and fitness is simple. Fitness is simple, and we make it too complex. And so we look at fitness, we look at results, and we start saying, oh, I want to weigh less. or I want to do this for this, or I want to do X, Y, and Z. I want to have abs. All these silly goals that at the end of the day, when you reach them, may be kind of cool, but that's not the goal. It's never the goal. It's never been the goal. It's never going to be the goal, because if we don't focus on that, the next thing, then that first thing doesn't matter. I remember one of the lessons I learned many years ago. I remember seeing one of my family members who was getting ready for a reunion, and she looked fantastic. She's like, I'm going to my 20th reunion. She looked fantastic. But then the next summer saw her and she gained all the weight back. It's like, what's the point then? So you look good for your reunion. What does that matter? This is what happens in our society day in and day out, day in and day out. It happens. And the problem is that we're always going to have a percentage of people that are going to be like that, right? That are never going to get results because they're always going to focus on the wrong thing. Right. You're always going to have a percentage of people that do the right thing and crush it. And there's always people in the middle that are going both ways. Yeah. It's frustrating to me as a fitness leader. It's like, and so I've really focused on that a lot over the years in terms of what to do. And what I've gotten more. And when people are really, really ready to crush it and really getting after it, that's when they're going to get good value from me. And it's really not going to be very complex stuff.
Sure.
Stop eating crap, eat better food. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Move some, right?
Exercise every day. Wow.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. But that's kind of where I'm at is, I'm 33, right? And I've always been athletic, track, soccer, surfing my whole life, that type of thing. But I'm at the point now where I want to keep that going for as long as I possibly can, because you see people that, start getting up there in age, 50, 60, 70 years old, and they can't move anymore. So part of my journey here is trying to figure out what do I need to implement in my life that I can continue to do that's always going to allow me to be able to just move, basically, is kind of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's that lifestyle thing. And so I always look at people like on Facebook and stuff, social media, the different hiking groups, people that hike a lot. I'm like, that's great. People that bike a lot, people that surf, doing all that stuff is great. And it's a component, right? So I always like to talk about the wheels of wellness. And so like you look at, there's a van right there, the plumbing guys, right? Yeah. If one of their tires, if all four of those tires are flat, do you just pump up one of the tires and say, hey, let's pump up this one really, really full, and we're going to drive around, right? Yeah. That's what people do in health and fitness, is they'll go on a diet, and that's their one tire, right? All four tires are flat. That's their one tire. They're gonna pump that thing way up because I'm going to eat no carbs ever for the rest of my life because carbs are somehow bad, right? Yeah. And that's one, but you can't function like that. You can drive around a little bit, right? Yeah. You're not going to go very far.
And good luck being happy trying to live that way.
Yeah. So if someone like you, you've got four tires in your car, right? And all four tires are getting flatter every day. That's how it goes, right? That's just the way life is. All four tires are getting flat. So you can't just pump air into one tire, right? You can't be like, I'm just going to surf all the time. That's great. But you need to get in the gym and lift weights. Yeah. You need to do something that gets you out of breath for a certain amount of time, right? And you need to eat right. You need to move, move your mind, so to speak. I always like to look at those four areas: so micronutrition, macronutrition, movement, and mindset. So there's the 4 M's. You look at those 4 things, so you get quality food, the right amounts, the right times, and right's different for everybody. It's like throughout the day thing. Sure. And then you move your body. Yeah. And that's vital. You got to move your body. Lift things, move things, do things, get your body from here to there, get out of breath, move your body. Yeah. And the mindset is, a lot of times people talk about what goes in our body and think about what just it's in our mouth. That's not what goes in your body. It goes in your body and your eyeballs and your ears too, through your skin. Lots of things go in your body. You have to look at all those things. Yeah. Look at all those things. So the mindset thing, what are you watching? What are you listening to? Yeah. What are you thinking? And so you take those things, take all those into account. Yeah. Those are your 4 tires in your car, right? So you can't let one just go down. You just can't do it. Yeah. You got to move your body. There are people out there that are like, I'm going to go on this diet for whatever until I lose the weight and then I can exercise. And that just never works because that's blowing up one of those tires. Right. You get people that are like the mindset gurus, maybe and I'm not showing shade on yoga or meditation. Those things are great. Yeah. But that's all they do. And that might be good. You might be thin. You might do yoga all the time, which is great. But you're weak. You're going to break your leg if you fall down the stairs. There's various things, and you have to focus on 4 things, not just one, not just 2. You have to get all 4 of those things. And so I think that's been my secret is that, I haven't really been sick very much. I just had a little cold recently, which is the first time in 2 years. I don't get sick really anymore. I have some tweaks and injury stuff because I'm so super active. Follow me on Facebook. You'll see, wow, why are you lifting that weight above his head? Well, I compete. There's a risk to that. Yeah. But, and I focus on those areas of my life. And so at 48, I feel pretty good. Yeah. And I certainly look pretty good, I think.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I take my shirt off a lot. People make fun of me for that. I'm like, well, you know what? If you look like this, you do it.
You would do it too.
I can take my shirt off right now. I'm not going to do it. but that's it. That's the point. Is like when you start breaking it down like that, and then all of a sudden people are saying, wait a minute, that's not what we've been taught in the fitness world, right? That's not what we've been taught. We've been taught that we have to do the circuit machine and this, and then, watch it. But no, that's not it. That's a little component, right? So you have to think about it from that standpoint.
Sure.
So, and then it can break down more. Again, when we're talking basic health, when you're never done anything. Okay, yeah, you walk 20 or 30 minutes, 4 or 5 days a week, do a basic lifting routine, that's crushing it. Yeah. Not for you, because you got to break it down more because you're a little fit, you're a little stronger. So now you need to focus on the movements, pushing, pulling, pressing overhead, squatting. You need to do those things. Yeah. You need to get out of breath. Yeah. You need to do that in a variety of ways, minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 60 minutes. So you need to do that, and that's kind of that next level type stuff. There's different levels to all this. Same thing with eating. If you just eat nothing but fast food all the time, we eat fast food less, crushing it, right? Yeah. But then you got to take that next step. And so I'm always kind of looking at where people are, and it's almost like we talked about earlier with the sport of CrossFit or the functional fitness exercise routine. Yeah. You might start off doing, instead of doing, so there's a pull-up. We've all heard of a pull-up, right? Well, there's ranges to pull-ups. Yeah. So we start with what's called a ring row. So we have some rings that are hanging from the pull-up rig, and you lean back and pull the rings to your chest, right? So that's kind of the real basic, and where you put your feet depends on how hard it's going to be. Yeah. And then you kind of jump up to jumping pull-ups. So where you can kind of, get the bar just above your head, and then you jump up and jump down, and then you got regular pull-ups, and then we can learn how to kip, and we got a move called the butterfly, and then we have a muscle up where you get up over the rings, strict pull-ups, weighted strict pull-ups. I did pull-ups, but I was doing strict, so there's no movement, just straight up and down. I had a weight vest on. Again, that's a whole range for one thing. Yeah. Right? Same goes with anybody out there in here that wants to be healthy and fit. Yeah. You do certain things based on where you're at. Yeah. Right? And so for me, being kind of at the tip of the spear, so to speak, I have to constantly be looking for little tweaks that I can do to get myself a little bit better, like a better pre-workout, post-workout. My supplements, I always kind of dial those things in, looking at the way I'm eating, looking at how much alcohol I consume, because alcohol is not horrible to have a couple drinks here and there, but hey, wait a minute, did I have 2 drinks a night for 3 nights in a row? It's probably too much. Just back off for a few days. Little things like that. So everybody's kind of on a spectrum, and we have to realize that there's different areas. When you're just starting off, you don't have to do what I do because I'm different. I'm at that tip of the spear. If you're just kind of getting in there, you have to learn how to manipulate your lifestyle to be a little bit better in all 4 of those areas.
And for what reasons? Obviously, people have different reasons for why they want to get in shape. They want to look good. They want to feel good. But you mentioned the mental side of it. And I've been lifting for probably 10 or, and back in the day, it was lifting to get big, lifting to get, and then you had to eat a lot all the time. But for me now, it's to get better at those things that I mentioned. I got 2 young kids. I want to be able to run around and throw with them. So I kind of changed and altered things over time, but also back to the surfing pieces, I want to do things that make me better at that. And sure, you could just surf all the time, but adding those layers of things, increase cardio load along that nature. But the thing I like about the functional fitness side is that kind of building up of how much lactic acid your muscles can take, right? And that's what plays in a role when you're out there doing whatever competitive thing you're trying to get at. So, but it seems that people have a hard time with the diet. You keep going back to it, and you have a meal plan company, which helps people. So I'd love to get into that, but it seems like there's so much trending stuff that people get caught up in, and to their benefit or whatever the case may be, whether it's intermittent fasting or paleo or along that nature of. It seems like there's a flavor of the month when it comes to diet and exercise, or diet specific. But what's your take on diet, man? What should and shouldn't, or what works for you, along that nature?
So I'll kind of go a couple of different directions here. So we're in here in our commissary kitchen, right? And so I've been talking to a lot of people that are looking to start businesses, and it's awesome. I love it. I love people that are entrepreneur and they want to do businesses, do things. What we've seen specifically in the last 5 or 6 years is more and more people are trying to monetize health and fitness, monetize nutrition.
It's a big industry.
So what we do is we put a label on stuff, right? We put a label on stuff. Okay, so eating healthy is a challenge. It's different for everybody, blah, blah, blah. But now we put a label on stuff and someone says, I'm going to do that. That monetizes it. So if someone says, I want intermittent fasting, it's a thing. They'll monetize it. People will sell programs, blah, blah, blah. So there's that. That being said, a lot of these different programs and flavor of the month, a lot of these different things have value, and they're based on things that work for some people, right? And so like intermittent fasting's an example. I looked into it one day because someone asked me, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do some research on it. And so here's what I found: intermittent fasting. There's been a lot of studies done on it. There's been a lot of people looked into it, peer-reviewed stuff. And here's the conclusion: it's a coin flip. There's not necessarily any benefit to it, but it's not necessarily bad. Some people get benefit from it, some people don't. So some people need to be more regimented. They need to do things. It might work for them, but not for everybody, right? Yeah. Here's what works every single time: eating right, exercising, having a good mindset. So there's different programs out there, and specifically the elephant in the room, the keto program. Yeah. Personally, if someone were to ask me and say, should I do keto? I'd say absolutely not, because keto is like anything else, like intermittent fasting, like all these other programs that have come and gone over the past. There's value for a lot of people, or there can be value for a lot of people. Sure. The concept of it can be a good one. But the first and foremost thing that's negative about any one of these named things is they're a named thing. And so now we're putting the onus of responsibility on the named thing. I need to lose 100 pounds. I'm going to do keto. Now it's the responsibility of keto. It's incredibly hard to maintain. Some people it works for, but at the end of the day, can it be healthy long term? I think there's a lot of science that says that's not necessarily healthy long term. Yeah. There's some that says it's okay. I mean, there's a lot of kind of up in the air for that.
Like most things, right?
Yeah. Reality, whether it works or not, maybe it can be an intermittent thing to get to another goal. But the reality is, when you start taking out, not only food groups, but certain macros out of your life, what's going to happen when they come back in? And everybody's going to kind of be different. But we have, and I kind of gave the diet thing a hard time a little bit, right? About, monetizing stuff, but, kind of transitioning to our business is that we have a meal prep business. So one of the things we do is we do offer low carb foods, which in my mind, we don't call it keto. In my mind, some people would like just to have a little bit of a step up in health. All right. Sure. So like we replace like pasta. We use whole wheat pasta with some of our dishes, right? We replace that with cauliflower. We have rice and something we replace with cauliflower rice. So we'll take out some of those higher carbohydrates, put in some more nutrition dense foods. Some people like that. Can it be keto friendly? Sure. So we want to kind of fit all that in. But we looked, it's like, I want to say 7 years ago, one of our friends said to my wife, hey, you should teach her. She said, can you make some meals for me this week? Sure. Teresa was, my wife Teresa was not, I'm not sure she was working at the time, but anyway, she was always, we owned a gym. We were always big on she would always like research food and stuff. She wanted to kind of create cool food. Yeah. She said, cool, I'll do it. So she did it, made her food for $50. We gave her 5 meals. And we did that for a couple weeks, but that was kind of the idea. That was kind of, that worked. Yeah. A few years later, we had kind of needed some income. We were financially a little challenged there, and we were like, let's make some meals for some of our members. Yeah. Let's have Teresa make some meals. We'll charge them, whatever. We had the idea. We actually bought some meal containers. See some of the containers laying around here. We've bought thousands of over the years. Yeah. We bought a box of containers, did nothing with it. Because sometimes, when you want to do something, but you're not ready to. Yeah. I'm an all or nothing guy, and I'm not one to be like, oh, maybe. But then we got to the point where we're just ready to do it. Designed a website real quick, put it out there, and we got 30 meal orders. All of a sudden she's making some meals, and we were, she was working a part-time job, replaced that income, and then we just slowly, steadily, okay, let's do this. Let's kind of put some more effort into this. After, 6 or 8 months, we were doing 60, 80, 100 meals a week. Wow. And so we started to grow pretty quickly. We kind of, ebbed and flowed a little bit. Worked out at a commissary kitchen in Orlando, which was terrible, driving an hour every Sunday. Yeah. But we worked hard, and then the pandemic hit. And, we went from averaging 120, 130 meals a week to did some 300 meals a week. Wow. Oscillated up and down. Now we're averaging 320, 350 meals a week. Wow. And it's been bananas. It's been nuts. And people are just loving the food because we do good customer service. Yeah. We want the food to be healthy and good. And we had a conversation with a new customer a couple weeks ago. I dropped off some food, and she was asking us about the business and stuff. I said, hey, we're who we are, right? Yeah. We work out all the time. We own a gym. We compete in the sport of CrossFit. We're loving it, loving movement and exercise and being out there and living a long life. So we want to support that. So that's kind of what ended up happening is the meal business has just exploded. So the reason we're in a kitchen here now is like we're driving back and forth to Orlando. So our schedule used to be Sunday, get up at 5 a.m., load up everything we own into a car, drive it to Orlando, cook 300 or 400 meals, load it all back up into 3 cars. We had 2 people helping us, and then deliver all over Lake County. As a pain in the butt. Now we come here and do it, do it in downtown Eustis, which is so much nicer than driving to Orlando. But now we're able to kind of support people from the meal side too, from the macro and micro side. So we're still empowering people. We're not doing it for them. Right? We're empowering people. So we're empowering someone to go on a website so they get these containers, and then there's our lunch and dinner. So they still got to pay for it. So we're not doing it. You're not sitting there going there, make sure to eat. If someone wants to order, they order. If they don't, they don't. But we want to empower people to make the right choices and have healthy food. We have healthy desserts, breakfast. Just before I came here, I had one of our breakfasts. So nice. we eat ourselves. I actually pay every week. I mean, it's like money from one pocket to the other to the other.
Moving it around.
But moving around. But I pay every week to make sure I have the breakfast meals I like. And we get some extra meal stuff. But that business has helped to support our other business in terms of supporting our members. And our next business, the kitchen, supports our other. So we're always about working together and empowering. And I think that from an entrepreneur standpoint, switching gears is like, hey, let's help the customer, really focusing on the customer, not worrying about profits, not worrying about any of that other stuff, getting things right. Has really benefited us a lot. And we're, doing really well with the business because we do really well with our customers. So it's been a journey. And, I think it's something that is certainly lacking. It's a business that I think a lot of people go out to eat. It just is what it is. And you see restaurants everywhere. But a lot of that food is not the best food. Right. It's not great food, and it's poorly prepared. And especially the bigger chains, they've learned how to, through science, make stuff taste and look like something, but it's not necessarily. And people are really focused on what tastes really good, not as opposed to what's healthy. So Teresa is an absolute magician in making stuff taste good without using any preservatives and bad stuff. We don't fry anything. Everything's healthy, but it tastes really good. So we've done that and built that business, and we're really, really proud that we're helping the community to live better. And that's really what it's all about.
That's kind of the opposite. And I've talked about this a lot because I work for a massive corporation, which is they're the opposite. It's all about profits. You got to beat sales every year. You got to grow this. You got to grow that. And restaurants are very similar, right? These fast food chains, these restaurant chains, whatever the case may be, they're there for making money, right? So they have to get their costs down. And sometimes getting costs down cuts corners on the end user's results from an overall health and wellness standpoint. But to their credit, they're convenient. You can go to a McDonald's here and you can go to McDonald's in Alaska, and it's the same exact thing, right? It's this process that they built together. So I get the convenience play of it, and that's what's interesting about a meal prep business to me, or just the idea of meal prepping in general, is it gives you that convenience factor without sacrificing your longevity, let's say, and how long you want to live your life.
We have one of our customers has been with us since the beginning, since the handwritten labels. We like to say that because we used to handwrite our labels. With 400 meals, you can't do that.
The Stone Age.
The Stone Age, yeah. But one of our customers, Tammy, has been with us since the beginning. She orders 4 meals every week, and she's a teacher. So we drive up to her house. She lives out in Umatilla. She's got a garage refrigerator. Walk in the garage refrigerator, put the meals in there. Wow. So she gets up Monday morning, walks out there, grabs her meal, all right there, puts it in her bag, whatever, puts it in the refrigerator at school. So now she's got a healthy meal to eat. Dang. That type of thing, you don't see that. A lot of people are ordering pizza. They're going out to eat. I'll tell you, I've got some of our best friends are restaurant owners. Various restaurants in town. We know the owners. We love them. We go out to eat, but like once a week. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like you get people that are going out every single day, or people that are skipping lunch, or they're getting something that's terrible for them. And so we're filling in that gap. And so we've been blessed in the sense that growing this business has. From a profit standpoint, it's not a great profit margin for the meals because it is what it is. I mean, we hand make every darn meal and ship them. I mean, it's drive them to somewhere. It's not a big profit margin, so it's been a hard business to do. There are other meal prep companies like ours, but nobody does it on Sundays. We haven't had a weekend in 2.5 years. Dang. So like we cook on Saturday and Sunday, and so. Saturday we work out at the gym, of course, and then of course Sunday's our day off in the gym. But we work at the gym, then come here. And before it was, we're going to our house, prepping all day, cooking all day, and then delivering food out. But now we come here and Saturday, we spend the whole day, Saturday, till 4 or 5, working hard.
Yeah.
Do have our Saturday night, do whatever, but then Sunday morning, we're still up at 6, cooking. It's just been hard. It's very hard to do. So you go in Google search, type in meal prep near me, we're the only one. But I think this is something that's going to be bigger in the future.
Yeah.
We're looking at options. Right now, my wife is hard at work. I think she's doing that right now. We're going to have a vegan option in our menu. We're going to have a vegan menu. So, that's, again, is that hard for us? Yeah. But we want to give people the option because there are lots of people that are vegan.
Yeah.
I'm not vegan, but the food's good. I tried it. It's really good. But that's fine. And people have that option. We want to help people along the way. We're looking at options, in the future, and I'm not sure how far in the future, shipping food. That's another option. It's but in the beginning, we just had meals, and then we put in a couple breakfasts. Now I think we have, last check, we have 57 meal options on our menu. Yeah, we do all that on the weekend. Yeah. So, we have some supplements we have on there. We have some other stuff, but breakfast, snack, desserts, bulk macros, so we have all kinds of stuff, but we keep adding more things to, again, we want to help people. Yeah. Right? We want to help. That's what we want to do. We want to give people the option, like, hey, if you want to have good meals delivered to you, we can do that for you. If you want an option to come to a gym and we'll provide a workout, we'll facilitate that. We'll empower you. We'll coach you and make sure you do everything right and safe. We'll do that for you too. Yeah. So we want to have those options and provide those options. And that's really what my life has been all about. And, I think, and this may or may not be important, but for me, I think I'm a good example for people. It's like, hey, if you want to be healthy long into your life, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. Look at me. And that's why I post some of my workouts and stuff on social media. It's like, hey, I'll lift 235 pounds 4 times. It'll hurt.
I seen you doing ring muscle ups too,
Yeah, ring muscle ups is my thing. But, as an aging athlete, those things I think is important to show other people that, hey, it's possible.
Sure.
It's not what you're necessarily going to do when you fall off the couch at 48, having never done anything.
Right.
But it's something that people can do.
Yeah.
So I'd like to be that kind of inspiration stuff. And so, it's really what I'm trying to do these days. I mean, I'm again getting up there. I'll be 50, half century in a couple of years, and I'm trying to grow some businesses, looking at my future. And so we're definitely excited about life, excited about things going on for sure.
I like how you've built everything to where it works together too. You got the gym, you got this, and you got whatever else is next. But I really like how you're speaking on what you're doing now is to pay off for a longer, bigger picture, and it's not just about making money. And I get too hard on money. I've said this a few times, but when I was chasing money, I was chasing the wrong things. It seems more important to chase what it is that's going to make you happier for the longest. And for you, it sounds like that's helping people and being involved in the community here.
And guess what follows? The money follows.
The money follows, yeah. Absolutely right.
Financially, we've done better now than we've ever done. Is because we've really focused on the product. I always talk about from a business standpoint, and this may be helpful to people that own businesses, but it's the 3 Ps: the people, the process, and the product. Yeah. Right. And so you need to have all 3, and so you need to focus on all 3, and so you need to make sure the product's good. Nowhere in that is money. Right. You need to make sure you got good processes, and that's part money. So like if you're spending 10 hours or something could take you 1, right. It's not a good process. We recently just switched over our website into a website that does everything for us, prints all labels, does everything. Yeah, it costs a little bit of extra money, but it saves me time to do other stuff. But you want to focus on the people. You want to get people in. You want to talk to people, return text messages, reach out to people. If they hadn't ordered in a while, little things like that is helpful. Little things like that. So you want to make sure that that's right. We recently had someone that got like a wrong meal or something. And I said, you know what? Take it, and I'm going to take that meal off your thing. And I gave them their money back, whatever. Didn't ask any questions. But you want to take care of your customers.
Sure.
We recently had someone. So the way our ordering works is you order until Friday at 7:00, which is way too late. But whatever. I want people to have as much time as they can. So Friday at 7:00. If you order at 6:59, your food comes on Sunday. Wow. If you order at 7:01, it comes the next Sunday. The system's set up but someone texted me at 8:15, like, hey, I forgot to order. My wife's going, ask what he wants. I'm like, no. But, I said, what do you want? He says, give me, he ordered a big order. So I handwritten the labels, had to add, we have a production sheet that comes out, had to change all the numbers, handwrite 30, a lot of labels, a big order. It's one of those you took, it's a big order. But the point is not that I want to do something like that, but you do it. I have one of our customers lives in Claremont. And he said, can I get a Monday delivery? What do you say? No?
Yeah.
I mean, that, no, well, of course, I'm not going to say, because it's a customer thing. And do you lose money on that? Yeah, but whatever, it's not a big deal, because at the end of the day, you want a good customer,
right?
And it's not all the time. And they're going to say something to their friends, maybe you get a bigger customer out of it. But, you got to focus on the people, the process, and the product. And if all three of those are good, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're going to be successful. Part of the process, of course, is being financially smart. Yeah. But you don't focus on, okay, the revenue needs to be here. We need this number of customers. We need this number of this, that. No, you don't focus on that. You focus on doing the right thing for people all the time. Another thing we do is, like, we had for a while, and this is kind of what happened is, like, we always make extra meals just in case. Like, if someone's like, oh, because in the beginning we were hand doing stuff, and oftentimes, like, I'd forget something. So we were doing extra meals, and what was happening is we'd put them at the gym and we'd sell them to people. And for a few weeks, there was a few left over at the end of the week. And it drove me, like, 1 week I threw food away. I'm like, how do I throw food away? So we reached out to a friend of ours who facilitates, like, different community type stuff. Her name is Jessica, and she has a company called One to Another. And what they do is they help homeless. They do all kinds of stuff. I said, hey, if I give you some food on Fridays, can you get it out to the homeless? She's like, absolutely. So for a few weeks, Fridays, I'd be like, hey, come on over, give her 3 or 4 meals, and she'd go around to the homeless and give them out. Well, what happened is that, again, you get your own success gets in your way, right? We started selling out of our food, our extra food. So I had nothing for her. So what I did is I put an option on the menu. So any one of our customers can order a donation meal. We have there's a stack up there. Those are the ones that are kind of going through. We get a couple every week. But people for $6, so we just lowered the cost to, right about our cost, donation meal. So now, every few weeks, I'll call her up, say, we got 10 donation meals, and she'll deliver them out to needy.
Nice.
But we're trying to, we want that to happen. And last year we donated we facilitated the donation of over 600 meals. Wow. So we had a lady one of our customers, who wanted to do something for, she had lost her daughter quite a ways back, but every year she did something to give back in the memory of her daughter. And so we're like, she said, hey, can you do a donate? Because it was a pandemic, and we're like, we'll put it on our website and we'll promote it. And I think we had like 200 meals.
Dang.
So in the memory of this lady's daughter, we donated 200 meals.
Wow.
And, honestly, from a business perspective, process, I don't even know where they went. Yeah. But I know that we have a person that got them out to the people. We did 200 meals for the homeless on Thanksgiving.
Wow.
So 200. So we went and we did a special day. We were still in Orlando then. We drove down to Orlando, cooked all day, came back at the gym, met this lady, Jessica, and her crew, gave them 200 meals. And then we facilitated that. Again, we got people, like our customers, the general public. We had one guy who owned a business. He said, I'll donate 100 meals. One lady who lives up in Maryland, an old friend of mine, who used to be a training client of mine, she said, hey, I'm going to donate some meals. She donated 20 meals, whatever. Nice. But we gave back a little bit. So, it all kind of goes together. And you mentioned, it's like, okay, everything kind of goes together. It's like, okay, you got working out, you got gym, or you got working out, you got meals, you got kitchen. All these things kind of work together. But again, at the end of the day, if you're not helping other people to succeed, then what are we really doing? I spend a lot of time here with our new members in the commissary, because most people that come to the commissary kitchen are new-ish. They want to start a business. And I spend lots of time. My wife, I was telling her the day, because she was here one of the times I met with somebody, and she's like, now we know why it takes an hour to do a tour, because I'm trying to help people to grow their businesses. Because I've done it. I'm like, well, if I can grow a business, anybody can do it. And so I try to help people to grow their businesses. So, I try to give back as much as I can. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, when you do that, you get paid for it, not necessarily with a check, right, at the time, but you get paid for it with business and people that are leaving reviews. I've been reaching out to people leaving Google reviews for our business. We've got a bunch of good Google reviews. Just posted one of them this morning.
Nice.
But if you focus on that, focus on giving back, focus on doing the right thing, focus on the people, the process, the product. At the end of the day, everything else comes along with it. Yeah. And I see businesses, it drives me crazy, businesses that just don't help people. They're like the vape shops. I'm like, no judgments, but come on. How are you helping the humanity? Yeah. How are you helping people to succeed? And you see a lot of these bigger businesses that end up screwing their customers because they're too big. And I think there's always going to be room for small business.
Sure.
Always, because there's always going to be companies that are going to screw everybody.
Yeah.
Because they're so big, they don't care.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a good thing in some ways. It's a bad thing because I have to deal with those companies a lot.
Right.
Like, ugh. But there's always going to be companies out there that are smaller, that are going to be looking out to grow and to change the world from the bottom up. So that's what I believe. I believe that, if you want to change the world, start in the mirror.
Yeah. People have a hard time doing that, and that's usually what it takes.
It's one of the reasons I don't post on social media like I used to. It's because I'm tired of people, every time you put something out there, it's you get people jumping down your throat. I said, you know what? That's fine. I'm just going to focus on the people that are standing in front of me.
There you go.
And if you don't want my value, if you want to sit there and be your keyboard warrior, you do it.
Do you find that, obviously, I think I know the answer, but less people are inclined to be that way to your face? It's a lot easier to be the tough guy or tough girl, as you mentioned, as the keyboard warrior.
And I think it's very sad. I think that what happens is, and from both sides, and I'll freely admit I'm generally more conservative than I'm generally right leaning, but I'm more centrist. But I've got people that I know on both sides. Yeah. And it drives me crazy. Yeah. It drives me absolutely crazy. I was actually just talking to my wife about the other day. I had two personal training clients. One was ultra liberal, left wing. One was ultra right wing. And I had to literally sit and talk to both of them for an hour. Yeah. And it was, I don't want to say it was, because I've gotten very good at dealing with that, because I very much don't talk politics. But you have to kind of deal with that. But I've got people that I know that are on both sides that drive me crazy. Yeah. And I got people that I talk to and I'm friends with, and I just don't talk about certain things. Yeah. You don't talk about certain things, and it's frustrating, because I think that people like that, they spend so much of their negative energy, because we all have how much energy we really have. Yeah. We have a certain amount. Sure. And if we focus on the bad one, the bad energy, is that the old fable, like the two wolves are fighting? It's like the guy that always says, the guy that owns the wolves always knows who wins. It's like, how do you know who's going to win every time? He's like, because I feed that one. You feed the one. Yeah. You feed the one you want to feed. And so if you're always feeding negative, what is that going to do?
That's how you're going to be.
But that goes back to what I was talking about, the four parts of being healthy, fit, and whatever it is you want: the micro, the macro, the mindset, and the movement. You do all four of those things. Yeah. And I always like to say is, it's kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4 thing for me. Number one is you got to focus on yourself. Right. You got to focus on yourself, because there's no one else. I mean, without you, what else is there? There's nothing. It doesn't matter. Like, people talk about, like, oh my gosh, I get back to my church, I do this, I do that, I work, I love my kids. That's great. But without you, there's none of that.
None of that other stuff happens.
None of that. So you have to focus on the why and the how. Those are two things. Like, you have to do both. Like, the why is important. You can't just be like, I'm going to get healthy. Like, why? It doesn't matter. So, because as soon as it gets hard, you quit. And you have to focus on the why and the how. So the why, in order to figure out the why, you have to ask 3 questions, right? How do I look? How do I feel? How I'm performing in life, right? And everybody's different with the way they look at those questions, right? For me, how I'm performing, how am I doing in front of the video camera when I'm doing a workout, right? Because for me, I'm like to compete, but that's not you, that's not her, him. Everybody's different, right? So we have to figure out kind of why we want to get better, be better, live longer. How do I look? Some people are concerned about how they look. I see them on Instagram. I know who you are, right? Yeah. How do you look? How do you feel? How are you performing in life? And then from there, it's those 4: micro, macro, movement, mindset. Do all those things. When you look at it, right? When you look at it from that standpoint, it becomes a simple process of daily decisions. Sure. And actions that take you places. And the places that it's going to take you, totally up to you. Yeah. Right? Everybody's life is their own decision. Yeah. You're not going to get somewhere without doing anything. You're not going to, you're not going to get to Orlando by sitting there looking out the window. Right. It's a pretty view, but you got to get in that car right there and
you got to make it. Yeah.
And so if you want to be, and even in business and life, all these things, you have to take steps in the right direction. Yeah. And the problem we have is, I think that, you get the people that are always going to do it. Yeah. The rich are going to get richer. Yeah. The poor are going to get poorer. And I've learned to kind of, I can't worry about the people that don't want to do it. Yeah. If someone doesn't want to come to the gym because they want to try their keto diet for 6 months first, that's fine. Yeah. I can't convince them otherwise. Right. But if someone wants to do it, if I see them show up at my doorstep, guess what? They're getting my attention. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. I think it's back to, and part of the reason why I'm doing this podcast is to grow my own mind, man. I think, you mentioned the mindset piece. I think it is your most powerful weapon. It's the oldest, it's an old phrase, but it's one that I think is valuable. But I like what you said there about, really, it sounds selfish to say that you got to focus on you, but if you don't focus on you, you can't focus on anything else that it is that you're trying to accomplish. But I don't think people take necessarily the time to figure out what it is that they actually want. You know, they're spending too much time, like you said, in maybe those negative energy spaces where they're part of this tribe that makes them feel good because everybody might think the same way as them. But to me, it always comes down to people have different perspectives based off of where you came from, what you're into, your environment that you're around. So I find myself sometimes negative towards people that can't see that. You know, you mentioned you talking to both those people, like, why can't they see that somebody else might have a different perspective than you versus trying to just force their beliefs or ideology on that individual. So I like the way you talk, man. I like the way you communicate about things. It makes a lot of sense to me. And I can see why I can see why you're building such a strong community out here with all the things that you're doing, because people need to hear some of this stuff. I think it's good for you ultimately.
They need to, but oftentimes don't want to.
Yeah.
And that's,
it's hard.
I think the biggest thing I've learned, and again, I'm like you, I want to kind of learn and better myself. And because I've learned over the years, there's people I can't do things with. There's certain people they may bother me. Yeah. They may have, their thing, and that's fine. I don't judge necessarily. Yeah. I might observe.
Sure.
Right? But if someone doesn't want to do it and then wants to be their way they're going to be, that's fine. Yeah. I've learned that we're all kind of different, and we all have our different skill set. We all have different genetics. Yeah. So when I did a DNA fitness report, and it showed that I was prone to obesity. Which I thought was pretty amazing. I'm also slow to recover, and also it's kind of like one of those things that I don't know why I have all these negative things, and prone to injury. But the reality is that if you focus on your daily life on just trying to improve a little bit, and you don't worry about those different things, and then you'll move forward. I can't help people who don't want to be helped. Right. I can help myself, and that's really the biggest focus of my life now, is really just focusing on getting going in that right direction up here. My mindset, it's going to help everything else, and helping people who want to be helped, putting that value when I can, and hopefully this can help some people to kind of make that switch, go in the right direction.
I hope so, man. The one other thing I wanted to ask you just mentioned it. So are you on a 6-day program, 7-day program? You work out every day, or 6 days? You have a rest day. Some people argue, should you have a rest day? Should you not have a rest day?
I think everybody's different with what they do, and I think it all revolves around your intensity and your level of life. So a lot of times that's a very common question, right? How often should I exercise? Yeah. And you hear people say this bullshit of every other day, and that's just a bunch of crap. You should exercise every day. Everybody should exercise every day. Now, that being said, for me, I take 2 days off for exercise because of where I am and what I do. Because your
intensity level. Yeah.
Right. Because my intensity level is something that 99.9% of the world people could not possibly fathom, right? Or even understand what that means. Right. Because of where I am. Because of what I've done for all my life. Because of what I do. So my body needs that. Yeah. So we all need to exercise every day. Now, should you exercise every day? Do you have to? No. We can have room for life. Yeah. Right? We should try to get something done every day. Even if it's a 20-minute walk or something, we should try to move our bodies every single day. Yeah. Now, if we don't, but we're pretty consistent, then that's fine and will not negatively impact us. So if you set your sights to go exercise every day, and on Friday you're tired, you're sore, you're running behind schedule, take a day off from working out, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Right? Nothing wrong with that at all. Yeah. But we have to be cognizant of the fact that we can't be stereotyped in or pigeonholed into having to do things. Right. So when I sit here and say 5 days a week, if someone takes that and says, okay, I'm going to exercise 5 days a week, well, guess what's going to happen to one of those 5 days? Oh, shoot, I got to work late. Yeah. Now it's 4 days.
Life's going to happen.
Oh, my gosh, I got to pick up my kid from school. Now it's here. Right? And then the next week we're like, okay, how many days? Okay, now I got this new thing. Now it's 4 days. And then it migrates down from 5 to 3 to 2 to 0. Opposite end of the spectrum, people are like, gotta do it every day, gotta crush it, gotta get in the gym. Oh my gosh, and they stress themselves out over it. And then all of a sudden they fall off a cliff because I just can't do it.
Comes like a job.
Yeah, it comes like a job. It's like, I'm gonna take 3 or 4 days off and then I'll be back. I'll take a week off and be back. And a week turns into 2 weeks, turns into a month, and they're gone. Yeah. We have to be consistent with our exercise. Sure. It have to be. And the last thing I want to say, and it's kind of on that. So you and I have had professional jobs, right? You've worked for people. I've owned businesses. We have all these things. We have schedules. So I get up, my calendar, 9 o'clock this morning, interview, right? I had that in my calendar. So I kind of set my day around that time because I knew I had that to do, right? Yeah. Most people don't do that with their exercise. You have to do that with your exercise. We all have phones. We should have a schedule, and we should have a calendar when we do it.
Right.
So my exercise today is going to be 4 o'clock. So I'm going to go. I have some stuff to do at home, and I know I'm going to go to the gym. I have to teach class tonight. I'm responsible for doing the workout tonight. So I'm going to go before the workout, do my lifting, probably do the workout with the group. I'm not sure, but I haven't sure exactly what the workout's going to be. But I know that's when it's happening. But that's my schedule. Yeah. So tomorrow's Wednesday, I work out at noon.
Yeah.
With the group.
It adds a layer of accountability to build a schedule, stick to it, right, along that nature. One thing I got, man, I know you're a busy guy, but something I wanted to ask you, being how high intensity of workout you are, but what's recovery like, man? Because I put a sauna in the house. I put a chest freezer like that's converted over to ice baths. I think there's some mental side that I like of that more than, but what's recovery look like for you in your typical week?
Well, recovery is going to be different for everybody based on genetics. And so some people recover better. I don't recover well. It's just, and I found that out my genetics.
That was in your DNA test.
Yeah, my DNA test. Yeah. I don't recover well.
Interesting.
And so for me, there's always a degree of soreness, and I have to kind of, and I work on some. I have someone do programming for me in terms of my workout. Okay. Because I know how to program, but I don't have time or energy to look at it from a bird's eye view in terms of progressions and all that stuff. So we have we follow a program with our gym and with me personally. So I'm not always doing the same type of thing. So I'm kind of rotating through. I might be a little sore on one part, but I'll do something a little bit different. For me, recovery is all about time, and time is recovery. So when you're sore, tired, whatnot, inside your body, are there things you can do that can potentially help that a little bit? Yes. I do a post-workout recovery drink. That's something I do every single time. I take my vitamins. I have the vitamins I take from ID Life, which is actually, they have like an online assessment you do. So it's like programmed to you. So I take those. So I try to fuel my body. And I think that's very important. And then from that, it's just time. Heat is often something that can help a lot. So, hot baths, warm compress, things like that can help soreness, can help recovery. But at the end of the day, all those things, stretching can help a little bit. Yeah. All those things can, and I say that very on purpose, very intentionally, can help the process a little bit. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are, what you do, recovery is about time. Sleep, time.
That's the big one, man. I've been 8 to 10 hours a night for almost 2 years now, and that's been game changing. But the no alcohol thing really did that for me.
And you could screw things up, sure. But again, recovery is about putting things in your body too, letting your body take care of it. Yeah. There's lots of different, I don't want to call them scams. I don't think they're scams. There's lots of different little things that people they're monetizing recovery. Like people are doing like injections and different things, and
or cupping.
Cupping, and there's the Theragun.
Theragun, yeah.
Again, I don't want to throw shade on any of those things because I think there's value.
Some benefits and value.
Some benefits, but that's not how we recover. We allow our body, maybe empower our body, give the body the tools it needs, right? Through our micro and macronutrition. Power our body, but the body's going to do its own recovery, and so there's no magic, anything. There's no like, oh my gosh, what's your secret? My recovery is terrible for me. I mean, I'm always sore. I'm always tired. It just is what it is. I try to do something a little bit different, but I also have back issues. I have serious back issues, so I have to be super cognizant of kind of where I am with that. I have time, and I understand kind of how it has to be, what I need to do, and sometimes I'll spend time during the day lying down because that's my recovery position for my back. And I have to walk. I try to walk a little bit, lie down a little bit, and try to, because I have major disc issues. Wow. But recovery it's just something that your body does. Yeah. It's not like you can just, it's like Star Trek, take things.
Wouldn't that be nice? But no, maybe someday.
But there's no, again, it's anything with health, fitness. The answer is almost always the same. It's doing the things I talked about. Fueling your body, moving your body, getting blood flow. Blood. What does blood do? Blood does two things. It removes waste and it brings nutrients. That's what it does. So does it make sense that we get more blood flow going on? we're going to recover better.
Yeah.
Feel better, look better, get all that waste out of there.
Yeah. That's why I like the sauna, man. That's the one thing I do every day is I'm in there at least 15 minutes a day. But I think I'm addicted to it now. Might be my problem. But it's a good time.
A little sweat.
Yeah,
It's good
a little
stuff.
sweat's good for you. Well, listen, man, you've been real generous with your time, your knowledge. I like what you're doing out here, how you've sort of blend your life to where there's a lot of different things that are working together for the right reasons, and for what you said, putting people first in all aspects of your life, I think is a winning strategy.
It's called work-life integration.
There you go, work-life integration. I like it, man. Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. There you go, man. Piece of cake, right?
That was great. That was fun.